Today, we're going to be talking all things fitness and health. I have with me today Ariana, who is the founder and COO of Luna Fit, which is a health and fitness brand that has revolutionized wellness through technology, nutrition, fitness, and community. A very important aspect is community, of course. Together with her husband, Rich, and a dedicated team, she has built multiple businesses, including a gym, a meal prep company, a supplement company, and an innovative app launching, or I believe it's launched already. It launched last month.
Beta testing.
Oh, beta testing. Okay, I'm
Mm.
excited to hear about this. Ariana's mission is to empower busy individuals to achieve their health goals through simplified solutions and meaningful connections. A dynamic entrepreneur and speaker, she shares her journey of resilience and purpose-driven growth. Ariana, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be on. I've listened to several of your podcasts, and I feel like we actually have very similar viewpoints on so many things. So I was really excited to talk with you and your audience today.
Well, I'm excited to dive in. So you have this app, it's in beta testing. Why don't we start with the app? What is it makes the app different? Because there's so many fitness apps out there
So
right now.
many. Yes. So the app is definitely kind of our love child. It came out of COVID, really. When we got shut down, we had to get really creative with our current members at our gym. And we took all of our workout classes and we live streamed them through our Facebook member group. And we rented out our equipment to our members so they would have equipment to work with at home. And it just kind of opened our eyes that we could reach more people than the 5 mile radius that people are typically willing to travel to a gym, a little bit more for a good trainer. But I mean, it's a small area and we've always wanted to be able to help more people than we can reach locally with their health and fitness and really make an impact on the health of America, big goals. And so we said, you know what, let's look at an app. Like, let's really think about what that would look like, but how we would do it with the things that make us different in real life now. How can we translate that into what we do? So there's a few things that we've really focused on. One is it's pretty holistic. So we focus on pretty much everything in one place. So personalized workout plans, personalized nutrition plans, getting your steps in, getting enough sleep, getting enough water through hydration. And those are kind of our 5 pillars of the app. So it's everything in one place. So that's kind of the first thing that makes it different, is you don't have to use 5 apps to do that, or 3, or whatever you're using. You can get it all in one place. And then we wanted those to work together, because that's what happens in real life. But in most apps, if you don't work out, it's not going to change your nutrition plan. And if you don't get enough sleep, it's not going to say, hey, you should probably take it a little bit easier today and focus on your recovery. So we've built in a lot of coaching and AI aspects to where all of those interact with each other. So let's say that you get 3 hours of sleep, you have a horrible night, you're tossing and turning and not getting enough sleep, and you had planned a tough lower body workout the next day in the app. Your coach is actually going to come on and be like, hey, maybe we should switch this with something a little bit easier today, more of a recovery workout, and move this till tomorrow. And so you can be feeling better and get better results out of it. Same with overeating or undereating or not eating anything, logging your food before you work out. So it really does work together. Kind of our tagline is, it's the only app that cares about you, that actually pays attention to what you're actually doing. And then the coaching aspect. So my husband and I are both avatars in there. We actually coach you. Our workouts have audio in them, so it's actually like you're with a personal trainer. And then we also have some really fun things, like you earn moon rocks for logging things and for hitting your goals that you can use for discounts on cool fitness products. So I know that was a lot, but it's just so you can tell I'm so excited about it.
It's exciting. So is it picking up the Aura Ring or the like the Apple Watch or the Fitbit? How is it knowing like your sleep?
Yes, so it connects right now to Apple Watch, Fitbit, and a couple of other wearables. And obviously, as we launch, we're going to expand that to more and more wearables. But typically, anything right now that feeds into your phone's health app, so your Apple Health or Google, Samsung Health, will show up in the app. We've connected directly to all of that. So we're able to link to a lot of wearables.
Love it. I feel like the wearables just keep getting better and better. The information I use both an Oura Ring
Yes.
and the watch because they give different data in different ways, and I like both. So I'll look at both. Like I love the
Yeah.
Oura Ring sleep data, and then I love the heart rate data that you get, how healthy is your cardiovascular system. And it's just great feedback. And you're right. Sometimes we have this big workout planned and this is especially true when women hit their 40s and perimenopause. All of a sudden, everything that worked didn't work before. They're more sensitive to stress. So a poor night's sleep will
Yes.
just absolutely derail their workouts the next day.
Yeah, yeah, the things I used to do in my 30s, I don't do now in my 40s. I've learned that it's too much of a it's too much of a toll. I can't. The recovery is too hard, and yeah, it really is true. You hit those milestone markers in age. I do think especially for women, and it really changes the way that you have to approach fitness and nutrition and recovery. Been very poor about stretching over my lifetime. I focused very little on mobility, but a couple of years ago, I just realized that I was going to the chiropractor all the time and doing all these other things because I wasn't taking care of myself in a way that my body now needed. So adding in stretching and mobility is just one thing that shows up when you get to a certain age and you're lifting weights all the time and doing things like that.
Yes, the rest, the recovery, chiropractic, massage, stretching, warm up, cool down, it all starts to matter. Where if you're in your 20s or
Yes.
30s, you can kind of just walk in the gym, do your thing, and walk out. And it's
Yes.
just not like that where we go through that perimenopausal window. So it has AI built in. What exactly is the AI doing in the app?
So for launch, obviously, when you launch an app, you're launching your vial MVP, your viable product that you want to start people on. So we do have a lot more AI planned, but it's so funny. My head guy in charge of tech, his name is Guy. He is always reining me and my husband in because we just have so many ideas, and he's like, "We will never launch this if we don't pick a stopping point, launch, and then add more things." We have so many cool AI things planned that will sense even more of what people do and give even more feedback. But right now, most of the AI aspects are really just tying the pillars together. And based on what you log, knowing if you should adjust your diet plan for the week, knowing, or nutrition plan, I hate the word diet, knowing if you should adjust your fitness plan for the week. If you ran a marathon, saying, hey, you should drink more water than you normally drink in a day, really tying all those things together. And then also, the coaching aspect where you're getting, messages from your coach and even being able to have conversations with your coach, basic conversations right now. But we hope to get more and more advanced in that. And there's so much technology out there already that we can use to integrate that we're in a really exciting place with it.
Yeah, the times have changed so much just since 2020. Because I know everybody was closed down here. I'm in New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico. So we were shut down off and on over the course of probably about a year or more, where, we
Yeah.
would open back up and close back down. And I remember when it first happened, like nobody knew how to work the Zoom, nobody knew how to turn on their camera. And then all of a sudden, everybody,
Yes.
even the 80-year-old grandma, was using Zoom and FaceTime and all those things because it was really all we had.
Yes.
And I feel like
Yes.
it just launched from there. It just opened up that online world. Now, are you still working in person with clients, or is it just virtually that you're working with them?
No, absolutely. We still work in person. We got told a lot during COVID, and we're very blessed in that way. Some people don't see it like that, but we see it as blessed that we're in Florida. We were shut down for a few months, and that was really it. So personal feelings aside about all of that. And it was just really nice to be able to run our business for
Right.
the people that, wanted to still engage. And we were told during that time that, oh, gyms are never going to be a thing again. People are never going to want to come back. We didn't firmly believe that. So we actually, soon after that, actually expanded our in-person gym business and bought a big building. And it hasn't proved to be true. There are a lot of people that love online, and we're very excited about our app, and we have so many people interested, but there's always going to be those people that want to come in person, that want to work out in person, that want to be part of an in-person community. It's just a different feel. And, different people have different needs about how they get their health and fitness in. So we still do in-person training. We do a lot of group classes, and we have a lot of fun. We do a lot of events and challenges in our health and fitness center in Central Florida.
Yeah, I think both are important. I personal trained for many, many years before I went fully online in 2020 when everything happened.
Yeah.
But the thing that would frustrate me is, okay, you would personal train, but it was just the exercise piece. So a lot of times clients wouldn't be able to get to the next level because they weren't changing their nutrition. And the sessions were so short when I was doing them. They were 30-minute sessions, 45 at the most. So you don't have time to sit down with a client and talk about nutrition. You could maybe have a quick conversation while they're doing a set on a leg press or something, but that would frustrate me because nutrition was pivotal. And it's kind of like when you just address nutrition and you don't,
Mm-hmm.
address the exercise. To me, it's just like flip sides of a coin.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the nutrition is actually my favorite part of it. So if I have to pick a struggle that I have in health and fitness, it's actually the workout side of things. I love the nutrition side of things. And I find it actually easier to manage things by what I eat and keeping myself in shape sometimes than getting into the gym. So that's my personal struggle. But I do make it a priority, and I make it happen, and I try not to make excuses. The nutrition to me is such a huge piece. I don't believe that you can truly change your body composition without focusing on that and changing it. So we do spend a lot of time here with people on nutrition, and we made it a huge focus in the app as well because it is so important. And, that's also how the meal prep company came about, because we kept telling our people, nutrition is so important, nutrition is so important, nutrition is so important. You have to meal prep, you have to be prepared, you have to have healthy foods, you can't eat out all the time, just on repeat. And eventually we're like, if we do it for you, will you consume it? If we make it tasty and has the right macros and it's balanced. And so that's actually how LunaFit Fresh started, is just a need from our customers to fill that gap. So it was something that was very much a passion project for me. I love the food side of things, and you'll often find me on the weekends cooking in the kitchen with my chef. So, I totally agree. You have to do both. If you're really looking to improve your health and fitness and change your body composition, it's very much a two-sided coin, just like you said.
For sure. Now, with your meal prep, are you delivering the meals? Are you shipping the meals? Or are you doing both? Because I know some meal prep, like my daughter has a meal prep here in Albuquerque, but she's not set up to ship. So it's just like the Albuquerque and a couple of the surrounding areas, and that's it. How are you set up? Are clients able to, okay, they're on the app and they can order the meals and they're delivered, or how is that taking place?
Yep. So right now we deliver up to a 50-mile radius. So we're basically able to cover a pretty good portion of Florida. And we're hoping over the next several months to include that to a 100-mile radius through a delivery partner that we have, which would basically cover almost the whole state of Florida. I'd love to expand beyond that, but it's so hard with meal prep, as I'm sure you understand, because we do everything from scratch. We don't use frozen products. It's all fresh and healthy, and we prep and cook, and then we deliver it, and it gives clients their meals for the week. And most things that are shipped end up frozen, or they have a lot of preservatives in them and things like that. And it's kind of like contrary to the mission of why we started it, because when I went to look for another meal prep company for my clients to consume, I just wasn't super happy with anything that was out there, based on just there wasn't enough protein in most of the meals. They were higher in fat than they should be. They used preservatives because they were mass produced. So, it makes ours so different, but it does limit you to kind of the area that you can get it to. So that's a work in progress as far as expansion. But for right now, we're at 50 miles and we're hoping to move to 100. It is in the app. It shows up based on where you live. So for people that are in Florida, you'll be able to order those meals through the app. So it's there,
That's a
but
nice feature.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we run into the same thing my daughter does with
Yeah.
hers because I get the question all the time from my clients that are back east, can you ship? But it's the same thing. You just lose the quality when you start, flash freezing and shipping
Mm-hmm.
across the nation. And I use my daughters now, but prior to that, I tried a couple that, I would order from out of state. Just wasn't
Yeah.
happy with the taste, the quality. You're right about the fat content. For whatever reason, those meals tend to be
Yes.
higher in fat than what you would like. So I can definitely get that. Now, you did all this with your husband. Have you always worked
Yes.
together? Have the two of you always been into fitness? How did that come to be?
It was really nice. One of the things I really liked about him when we met was that he did care about his fitness. He worked out all the time. He ate better than most other people I knew. So we had that very much in common. And neither one of us worked in it as an industry. He actually worked in horticulture, and my background was actually in healthcare, accounting, and finance and business. And so it was just something that we both just did as a priority in our lives to stay healthy. And it's always nice when you have someone that is also doing that, because when get tired and fall off track, there's someone to kind of pull you back and vice versa. But once we had our daughter, her name is Luna. That's actually where Luna Fit comes from, because these
I love
businesses never
it.
would have
Cute.
existed if it wasn't for her, because I was working super long days, 14-hour days, in my job in healthcare. And we had a nanny raising her. And it was just weird. I just kind of stepped back one day and I was like, man, why did I have a kid if I'm not going to raise her, if I'm not going to be with her? Like, what am I doing with what am I doing with my life? And so made the decision, after about 9 months of trying to work it out mentally and spiritually with myself, I decided to leave. And then I was like, now what am I going to do with my life? What else do I know how to do? And so just through, mostly God's hand, I think, I ended up teaching mommy and me classes to many women that I met through just recently having a baby. And I would wear Luna and I would help them work out the right way. And I would, teach them how to eat better. And I helped them kind of get their confidence back and start to lose weight and look better. And then I was like, man, like I could probably do this. Like I have a pretty strong background in working out and nutrition, and I continued to learn and grow and work it. So I was like, okay. And after a while of growing my business, it was doing well enough that, my husband was like, well, I don't want to be gone 14, 15 hours a day either. I'm missing everything. And so he decided to quit. And then we were both home together, and I was like, I don't know about this. We got to find something else. So he went out and purchased a gym. I mean, we purchased a gym, but it was kind of the next step for him, because he loves the fitness side of things. So I love the nutrition side. He loves the fitness side. And that's kind of where we got our start. And we both started personal training and just continued to grow, and then moved into starting Luna Fit so that we could, help people on a larger scale. And it's just kind of grown from there. So it's been a very tough, as anyone that's an entrepreneur knows, very tough
Mhm.
experience, but so much growth and so many rewarding moments, you know, of helping people and really making a difference in people's lives.
Love it. It's so nice to have that virtual option. Those options were not available when I was raising my kids. It's like you either, went to a brick and mortar business and worked, or a gym, or whatever you were doing, and then came home, the 9 to 5 or whatever it was. And we didn't have those options to like hop on like this, do virtuals.
Yeah.
And I just love what it's done, I think, for moms, for families to be able to be home with their kiddos. And I want to switch gears for a moment and talk about sustainability, because I know with my community, that's a big one that comes up, is how do we sustain results? Like, we're such a diet culture, and you mentioned earlier not liking that word. I know I'm not really fond of it either, because it implies such a temporary, quick fix kind of band-aid solution, and it's not really looking at the long term. I have a client right now, and every time I meet with her, I love it. She says, I'm reminding myself that this is for my whole life. This is not for 16 weeks, which is the length of time we're working together. This is for my whole life. How can women really get sustainable results? How can they get off of that diet bandwagon?
I think there's so many aspects to that. But I think one of the things that we tend to do as women is not focus on ourselves. We spend a lot of energy and attention on, our kids and our work and all those things. So the first thing is just acknowledging that, spending time on yourself is okay, that it actually makes you a better, healthier person that can show up in better, healthier ways for those around you that need you. So just mentally acknowledging that it's okay to spend some time on your health, I think is a big deal. And then I think just knowing that it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to work out 6 days a week. You don't have to never have, your favorite food again. It's more about consistency over time than, being perfect 1, 2, 3 days and then it falling apart the fourth day, and then you don't go back to it for 2 weeks because you have to find the next perfect day to start. There's no perfect day to start. The perfect day to start is the day where you feel like you need to change and you pick that day. And then every time you fall off, you just get right back on. But I think we have this, even me, human nature, like if I miss a workout on Monday, in past years, I would be like, oh, this week is gone. And I, would wait till the next Monday to try and start working out again, which logically makes no sense. If you, forget to, brush your teeth, you don't wait a week to brush your teeth again. You just brush your teeth when you remember. So I think it's really important to give ourselves grace, but also to hold ourselves accountable that we don't have to wait till everything's going to be perfect because that time will never come. So just making small, simple habit changes, around the things that can really affect your health and not making it so hard is really how women can fit it into their lifestyles and make it a lifestyle. Because, like you said, diets and calorie restrictions aren't a way to live. You can't sustain that. You have to make healthy lifestyle changes and you have to make it part of your life that you're doing these things. And this is just what you do and who you are now because it helps you become a better person and who you want to be. So I really think just making that mental shift and knowing that it is something, just like your client says, like this is for your life. This isn't for a short time. And yes, if we want to change our body composition, we do have to restrict calories a little more at certain times consistently. Still, it's 7 days a week, not 3 or 4 or 5. But once you get to your goal, you still have to maintain a lot of those habits and things to keep going. And I also always tell women, the more muscle you put on, the more you can eat. And I promise you won't look bulky. It's really hard to look bulky.
Very
But putting
hard.
on that muscle increases your yes, it's so hard. People are like, oh, I don't want to lift a weight. I'm going to pop out a muscle. And I'm like, I wish that's how it works.
Oh my. I did bodybuilding well, I still bodybuild in the gym and work out in that manner, but I did the
Yeah,
competitions for a good 10 years.
which is
You
amazing.
know, it's and people would say that to me, well, I don't want to be a bodybuilder or anything. I don't want to bulk up. And I would work so hard to get even that tiniest bit of bulk for the stage. I mean, work hard, like lift heavy, like eat a lot and
Hmm.
all of the things. Yeah, it's not going to happen unless you're, taking substances of some kind. It's just for most women, they're not going to bulk up like that. Yeah, ladies, do not be afraid. I love that you hit on the not perfection and not starting over, because something that it actually does frustrate me is when I see that stop, start, because nothing comes from that. Like, okay, well, I messed up. It was a
Hmm.
hard day. I was stuck in the car all day. I didn't get my steps in. I didn't get to the gym. And then you just see that kind of follow for the whole, for 2 weeks after that or more. And then it's like, okay,
Hmm.
I'm going to get back to it. And then they do it again. And it's just about putting one foot in front of the other and having overall consistency. And
Yep.
you can't, I don't know how you feel about motivation, but I feel that one is another one that gets me when women will say, well, I wish I had your motivation. And I'm like, really? I'm not motivated every day and every hour of the week. It's more about just just doing the thing.
Yeah. It's more about discipline than motivation. Like I honestly, like I said, like the working out side of things, once I'm in the gym and I'm working out, I love it. But for me to set aside everything else I have to do between, my daughter and my husband and my businesses, it's very difficult for me. And so I'm almost never motivated to work out, to be honest, unless I have some challenge coming up or I'm, getting ready for a photo shoot or something like that. Like the motivation to work out for me is very low. So I've had to create a habit of discipline around it where, okay, if I miss my workout on Monday, I'm going to go on Tuesday. If I miss my workout in the morning, I'm going to try and carve out some time in the afternoon. If I miss my workout, maybe I'll try to take a walk with my daughter. Just doing something is always better than nothing. And that's really something that I think for some reason in fitness and nutrition is such a hard concept for people. And I guess it's the information out there and, what I think is misrepresented is no matter what it is, doing something is always better than nothing. A 10-minute workout with weights is better than no workout. 5,000 steps is better than 2,000 steps, even if you're not hitting the 7 to 10 range that, we would probably recommend for you to be active. I think it's just a hard concept for people, but that's really the basis of it all. It's consistency and discipline around it, right? I mean, that's pretty much what it boils down to.
It really does. Yeah, I was thinking about my day yesterday as you were talking, and I don't know how your hair appointments are, but mine are epic and go on.
Epic. Yeah, this color is not natural and it takes a long time to get there. Literally, I disappear for hours. Yeah. People will be like, "Where are you?" I'm like,
My
yeah.
husband's like, You were there 5 hours. Like, what was she doing? What were you doing?" And it's so funny. And I just knew half my day was gone yesterday. I got up, I had a ton
Yep.
to do, and
And
I
you're
literally
sitting. And you're
had,
sitting.
I think, yeah, I was sitting. It terrible. I had 30 minutes yesterday morning, and I'm like, okay, rather than stand around here and drink my coffee, I am heading out that door and take a 30-minute power walk, which I did, which increased my step count for the day. And just that little bit of getting my heart rate up, getting out in the sunshine helped. And I
Yeah.
think, and that's hard for me too, because I'm very much a check the box. It comes from the bodybuilding world where your coach hands you a protocol. And when you want to get on that stage, you don't skip workouts, you don't cheat on meal, you don't anything.
Yep.
And I've had a
Yep.
hard time now that I don't compete backing off of that. So I was proud of myself yesterday to go, okay, your 30-minute walk for today is enough because that's
Yeah.
all you're getting.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a similar experience this week. I missed my workout Monday and Tuesday, just things with work and other things that I couldn't avoid. And so I had this in my mind. I'm like, maybe I'll just skip the week. And then I was like, no, you will not skip the week. That's so dumb. We're not doing that. So I went this morning and I worked out and I used the time I had. So yeah, it's really you really got to catch yourself. Like I said, you have to hold yourself accountable. And I think until you can, you need to find someone that can. So that's, the whole point of coaching and personal trainers and even having a gym community like we have here, where if you miss, someone else from the gym, maybe not even your coach, might text you and be like, "Hey, missed you this morning," or something like that. And that's also what we're trying to translate in the app, right? So, and yes, you have to open the app for it to work. But if you have an app and you're communicating with it what you're doing and it's sensing what you're doing, it's going to say, like, "Hey, you've missed your workout for X number of days. Like, let's do this today. Like, no excuses. When can you carve out the time?" So I think, discipline is really hard. It's something that's, taken me years and years to really wrap my mind around. And, I mean, you and I, who are in this industry, just both admitted that, we have challenges and have to talk ourselves into things. So I think it's important to realize that and to, if you can't do it for yourself, to find someone that can help you do it, because it really is important. I mean, I don't know
It
what
is.
is a higher priority than health. You got one body and one life. And I see the way people age based on their choices. And I know the way I want to age and the way I want to help other people age. Quality of life is a huge thing.
It is a huge thing. I'm in my 60s now, and I have to say that it takes more. You can't, I don't want like the word cheat, but you can't cheat on things like sleep. Like, okay, I got only 2
Yes.
hours and now I'm going to do a hit workout or whatever. It all matters. Every single thing
Hmm.
matters, from my steps to my sleep to my stress, all matters. And I feel things more. Fatigue is more profound if I don't take care of my sleep.
Yeah.
Injuries are more prone at this age. And so yeah, you've got to be prepared. And I feel like that preparation needs to start. It shouldn't start when I'm 60. I mean, really what I did at 50 was helping me now at 60, and what I did at 40 was helping me at 50.
Yeah, for sure. And, I feel like that's something else that people kind of get stuck in. So I just, by an off chance, took a bodybuilding class in college and I just loved it. And so I was active before that. I always did track and gymnastics and I was very into being active in sports and things like that. But when I got to college and took that class, I was like, man, I really enjoy this. And I'd never really been in a gym before that. But in fairness, now I've been lifting weights and working out like that in some way relatively consistently for, 25, 30 years. And so people look at me and they're like, wow, it's so easy for you, which it's still not easy, but I have built up a lot of muscle over time and muscle does have memory at a certain point. And so sometimes I think people don't start because they think it's too late, but it's really never too late. It's just about the habits that you choose. And, you may never have just biologically even as much muscle, or your muscles won't look like someone else's, but the muscle you put on, every muscle you put on makes a difference in everything as you age. And so I think people also get stuck in that, well, I didn't start when I was young, so now I can't do it. And there's just zero truth in that. You can
Yes.
really start at any age and improve, the quality of the rest of your life, I think.
No, very true. Very true. I really did not start seriously lifting until I was, I think, about 48. Prior to that, I would go in, use the machines, but I was mostly a cardio girl. So I ran marathons
Yeah.
and I rode
Wow.
I did outdoor cycling, and I would do like 100-mile bike rides and all these endurance events. And that defined a good part of my these and my these. It was the long backpacking trip. So I was really into the endurance part of it. Weight training didn't come on till much later, and it came on board because I saw changes in my body and I went, this isn't working anymore. Like, going out and running 20 miles
Yeah.
isn't giving me the body I want. And I looked puffy, like, the cortisol, the impact of the cortisol, the stress. I look back on pictures.
The
My brother handed
inflammation.
me a picture the other day and I'm like, oh my gosh, burn this. I look awful. And I was about, I think about 46. I mean, I felt I looked awful. Just puffy through my stomach, my face.
I get it. Yeah.
And I didn't weigh, I probably weighed like what I weigh now, but it was distributed so much differently. So I did not start really seriously until 48, 49, 50. And so you're absolutely right. It's never too late. And I had a back surgery last summer. I had a spinal fusion. And it would have been easy to say,
Wow.
leading up into that surgery, like let's say 3 weeks prior, it was tempting to say to myself, oh, why bother to lift? Because you're not going to be able to lift for X amount of weeks. So why bother? And then I said, no, 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 no. You need to be prepared for that surgery. You need to have the most muscle you can have on your body and your nutrition dialed in for that surgery. And boy, what a difference did that make in the healing.
I bet. Yeah, that's amazing. Good for you. That's very impressive. But that's definitely the mindset that you have to have. Everybody's going to have,
Yes.
yeah, everybody's going to have setbacks and there's going to be seasons in life where you can't do as much as you want to do, but just getting back to it, right? That's really what it's all about, bottom line.
Yeah, and do what you can do. I've had so many injuries over the years, mostly back. I'm dealing with a shoulder issue right now, and my motto has always been find everything that I can do without pain, without hurting myself, and do those things rather than focusing on the things that I can't do. Say, okay, well, I can't do
I love that.
deadlifts, for instance. I can't do them anymore, but I can do there's like 10 other exercises for my lower body that I can do. And that's where I think women do struggle because it is that all or nothing kind of mindset. We want to be perfect at all the things, check the boxes. And sometimes it's just, let me find what I can do and do those things.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think doing what you can do is super important, and I totally agree. Even I tend to have an all or nothing mindset around a lot of things, but we don't live in a world anymore where that's really possible. We're so busy, we're so pulled in so many directions that we really have to think about our priorities and, like you said, do what you can do and don't focus on what you can't do.
Absolutely. Now, as somebody, I think of two types of individuals that struggle. The one is I have a client that she had never picked up a weight until we started working together. So 49 years old, she's picking up her first weight. So I think of that individual, and then I think of the individual who used to do, and you see a lot of that. Well, I used to do this, I used to be fit,
Mhm.
and now they're trying to get back. For those two types of people, what are your recommendations for them?
I think I do, I really do believe in muscle memory. So we will have people that were prior athletes who just haven't worked out in 20, 30 years. And I do think it's easier for them. I do think that they start to remember things that they used to do and their muscles are like, oh, we're still here. We just been dormant a little while versus the person who's literally never picked up a weight and has to actually build muscle by muscle. But for either of those groups, it goes back to starting. I always recommend starting with help. Because the number one thing that you want to avoid is injury. And so, if you're not sure on your form or how much weight you should start with, or how many reps you should do, or how many times a week you should be working out, or what to work out, I think that a lot of people do try to do it on their own and they end up having an injury and then quitting, and then not going back to it because they don't want to repeat that cycle, which I totally understand. I wouldn't want to repeat that cycle either. So I think getting help, whether it's in the form of our app where, a coach is coaching you through it and we give you form tips and there's videos and you can, see someone doing it, all the way to coming into, our fitness center or a fitness center that's near you and taking the classes, where a coach is coaching you through them or getting one-on-one training, I think is really important. I think if you've been out of the game for years, it really is important to get some sort of help and not just do it completely on your own. I just think it's too hard and the risk is too high of it not going well for you that it's worth
Mhm.
investing in it a little bit to at least get started.
Agreed. Agreed. I'm always giving that advice. And there's pros and cons to each. I mean, obviously, a trainer looking at you, their eyes on you, can give you direct, in the moment tips. But then I also like things like the app
Yes.
because I'm the type of person that it takes me a while to take in information. Sometimes, like, I've got to watch it more than once. And sometimes if I'm working, let's say I'm with my physical
Hmm.
therapist, this will happen. They show me something and I'm like, I don't know what you just did. And I try to replicate it and I'm doing it all wrong or whatever. And you feel a little bit of pressure there. Oh, I got to get
Yes.
this right now. Whereas if you've got something, a video or some kind of tutorial with written instructions and visual, you can take your time, play it back, look at it, and go, okay, let me try this again and do it in your own time.
Yeah, I agree. I do think there's advantages and disadvantages to both. I think it's for me at that point, I think it's more about what you'll actually do because that's what's really important that you're actually going to do it and you're going to start. So if you're better with someone, meeting up with someone in person and them holding you accountable and helping you get started, that's what you should do. If you're too uncomfortable to go into a gym, then you should start in something like the app because that's what you'll do. So I think focusing on what works better for you and what you'll actually start doing to make progress is super important.
Very. Now, switching a little bit over back to the nutrition end and the meal prep, because I've been thinking about this a lot. Another challenge that I see, and you probably see it too, is when people they don't like to cook. And I understand, like, they're busy or they're running kids to sports or they got grandkids. Many of the listeners are working, I don't know, they're at jobs 12 hours a day
Yeah.
and they come home, they're tired And then this can be a major obstacle. And that's where I always suggest try to find a meal prep company within your in your area. But I've got a few clients that they're kind of remote, like they're out a ways from the city. They don't have anything. How can they, it's a simple way for them to meal prep. What suggestions do you give them?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I always recommend finding a meal prep company if it's possible, but it at times it isn't, or they can't afford it, or things like that. And so again, I think it's kind of like I feel like I'm keep repeating myself on every topic, but it's keeping it simple. I mean, you don't have to have super fancy meals. So, I'll usually start people with, pick your two favorite lean proteins. And so if it's chicken and ground turkey, that's great. So pick those two. Don't try to have something different every single meal because then you're just doing so much cooking that you get overwhelmed and you don't want to do it. You don't want to spend your entire weekend cooking food. Again, pick two vegetables. They have so many easy options now. They're fresh vegetables that you steam in the bag in the microwave. So grab a couple of those, throw those in the microwave. You don't even have to cook them. Keep your carbs simple. All you have to do is bake or boil some sweet potatoes, make some really basic things, and then jazz that up with seasonings. Or they have so many sauces now that are a lot healthier, using healthy fats like avocado to improve taste and things like that. I think that people just think about it in their head like it's all or nothing, right? They have to eat chicken and broccoli every day, or they have to make these, 10 different gourmet meals for it to be meal prep, where really what's best is just something in between, keeping it basic. And then, rotate what you buy once a week when you're shopping, for your next cook. But just kind of know that you might eat, similar foods for a few days. That's usually what I recommend if people are going to do it on their own. Just picking 2 or 3 options under your proteins, healthy carbs and vegetables and kind of go from there.
My advice is similar. I'll do something where we'll make extra for dinner and then I'll
Yes.
package that up like protein mainly, not so much the veggies, but we'll cook extra protein like salmon or whatever it is. Put it in my drawer. It's called Mommy's drawer to this day. My kids are all grown, but they knew the drawer was off limits growing up because it's like that's my protein. That's what I could eat.
I
So,
love
but we
that.
would just cook extra and then I have a scale and I weigh it out, which brings me to my next
Yes.
question. Do you think that that's important to track and to weigh and to measure?
So I kind of meet people where they're at on that. I mean, ideally, I do think it's important. I think if you're not tracking and you don't know how many ounces of what you're eating, you really have no way to know if you're in a calorie overage or a calorie deficit. You really don't. There's times in my life where I just don't want to track, and so I don't. I think I probably am a little bit more knowledgeable from all of the times I have tracked every single thing, getting ready for something that I can kind of tell. But even at the same time, when you're not paying attention, you're not paying attention. And I'll catch myself, eating something random while I'm packing my daughter's lunch or whatever it is. And those calories add up in ways that people don't understand. But people are also looking for different results, right? So, like, I track to maintain a super extreme level of, fitness and health and a low body fat percentage that most people aren't looking to maintain. They want to be healthy, they want to feel good, they want to look good. And so sometimes we'll go with like the hand measurement, like, okay, a handful of carbs, a handful of veggies, palm size protein, hit that for your meals, focus on protein based snacks. You're going to see results if that's what you're doing. And if that's too much, then we'll usually go to, okay, just focus on your protein. Just if you have one thing that you focus on, I just want you to know how much protein you're intaking in the day. And, our goal for people is typically around 1 gram per pound of desired body weight. So if you want to weigh 130 pounds, try and get 130 grams of protein in the day and just track that for me. That's it. So I think you have to scale it for people and, kind of meet them where they're at, right?
A very similar approach that I use as well. I really do like women to track the protein. And what I find is if they get the protein needs in, they're not binging on the junky, sugary carbs because protein is so filling. It's really filling,
Absolutely.
satiating. And they'll tell me that my client I described earlier, she said, I'm not as hungry for sweets anymore. I'm not sure why. I say, well, it's all that healthy protein
Yes,
that you're consuming. And the carbs and
I
fats will
love that.
kind of work themselves out over time. That's what I found. So very, very similar.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yes. Ariana, I want to be respectful of your time as we start to wrap up. Was there anything I didn't ask or we didn't cover that you think would be good for the listeners and people watching the video to know?
Um, Man, I think we've covered a lot, but I do actually have a small gift for your women, the ones that may be looking to start a health journey.
Yay.
So I developed a guide. It's basically 5 simple steps to kickstart your health and fitness journey. So it revolves around the pillars in the app I talked about. It gives you goals and ideas for hitting your steps, sleep, hydration, nutrition and fitness and lifting weights. So they can find that at lunafitjourney.com. And that'll also kind of lead them to the app and things like that. And if there's anyone that wants to jump in on beta testing while we're still doing it, they can find out more about it at lunafitapp.com. So we'll be doing that for a couple more weeks and then be able to find us in the App Store.
That's so exciting. Congratulations on that. It is not an easy
Thank you.
endeavor. I just started a faith plus fitness membership that combines elements, well, it's faith-based, Christian faith-based, with fitness, nutrition, exercise. And it took me months, and I wasn't doing an app. I was just doing a membership platform, but literally months
Yeah.
to get that thing up and going.
Yeah, that's
So
amazing though. I love that
congratulations
concept
on
so
that.
much. Thank you. Same to you. I hope that goes well. My tagline on Instagram is actually faith, family, fitness, so I very much can identify
Yeah.
with that.
I saw that. I was looking at your social last night, as a matter of fact, and I went, oh, this sounds familiar because I talk a lot about that combination because I, like you, have that integrative look. And for me, integrative means like I can't separate my health from my faith. Like it's impossible for me to do that. And so that's what health and fitness look like for me is it has that spiritual component.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's for me what's helped me get to that discipline point. I mean, that's really where my discipline comes from.
Same, same. That is my motivation. So listeners can follow you on Instagram and was there any place else you want them to connect with you?
Instagram is a great place. You can follow and see what we're doing about the app and all of our businesses at LunaFit Universe. I'm on Instagram. And then our website, lunafit.com, is also a great place to see everything we do. You can find out about any of our businesses there, more about us, and even the things we offer as far as workout guides and things like that. But I hope that they, grab that guide from lunafitjourney.com. I think that will be really helpful for anyone that is looking to start a health and fitness journey and just needs a simple place to start. Simple
I
habits.
love it. I'm into simple. Simple is what we need, more of that. I'll make sure
Yes.
all of this is in the show notes, and I encourage the listeners to grab Ariana's free guide. And Ariana, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it so much. This was a really, really amazing time.
And to our listeners, wherever you are in the world, we wish you every blessing. Bye for now.